curator, Kate Driscoll. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Please join me with a round of applause for Kate Driscoll. She is such an asset to our Hudgens community. She is responsible for the curating and installation of all of our exhibitions here at the Hudgens, including this one featuring the work of our 2022 Hudgens Prize winner, Olu Amoda. So thank you, Olu, for being with us today. It's a true honor. So, and for those of you whom I've not yet had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Laura Balance, and I'm executive director here at the Hudgens Center, and we're so thrilled to see so many friendly faces and some new ones too. We're going to just take about 20 minutes here and ask Olu some questions, and I'll take a seat alongside. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, I am so excited. So we'll start just with having you tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, how you found your way into the arts.
Well, I grew up in a very remote part of Nigeria called Okere, Warri, Niger Delta. For those of us who go to the pump price and look at your gas price and you're wondering why it's expensive, sometimes if they have some crisis in those areas, it affects your pump prices. So it may look far from here, but something that happens one side of the world affects that part of the world. So it's from Okere, Lagos, and then I'm here in Atlanta.
And how you came into the arts, how you found a place for yourself in the arts, and I'll let you hold the mic. So.
Okay, how did I find this place?
Well, just a place in the art. What drew you to the arts?
Oh, what drew you to the art? Well, I think I grew up, knowing that I'm going to be an artist. I did a lot of things that at least point in the direction of being a creative person. Sometimes I get into trouble by doing graffiti. But I then went to school to study art formally, both in Nigeria and here. And I think I'm stuck now. I don't know how to do any of that than creating artwork. So I think that's basically how I arrive at this point. So I'm a hands-on person, so I just pick things and use them, but I don't know what will come out of it. Yeah.
Thank you, Olu. And then why sculpture? What drew you to this medium as opposed to painting or drawing or printmaking?
Well, in my formal training, we're exposed to all forms of art. And somehow, you have peers that influence you, people you like, and then they end up in certain areas. I think I didn't really knew about sculpture when I went to the art school. I wanted to be a graphic designer. And the fact that, in graphics, they keep restricting you. You can't use more than one font size or more than 3 colors. And then when I engage in sculpture, I use leaves for the first time to create my first sculpture. And I got my A, and I felt the freedom in sculpture, which was something that I truly love. Although prior to that, I wanted to be an architect, and I think in art, the only thing that connects you to architecture and art is sculpture. And the question, why not painting, why not printmaking? I think, these are just surfaces, whether it's 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional. Painting is done in all surfaces, so I don't see a distinction between painting and sculpture, I just see that the medium is what changes, and how you express yourself in those medium is what matters, But I think if you are a sculptor, then you can get out and do something else. But if you are not majored in sculpture, sometimes it's challenging because you don't have the confidence to know that you're doing sculpture when you're not doing sculpture. But I think, in either way, I don't see the difference anymore. So, but at the beginning, it was a conscious effort to go into sculpture because of the freedom that I can enjoy. And then, of course, with the different materials and the medium that is available to you, it connects you to engineering, connects you to invention, so many things that are possible in sculpture that sometimes the medium in painting, canvas might not allow. But in terms of the attitude, in terms of the mark making, in terms of applying colors and layers, is the same to me.
And you mentioned incorporating leaves in one of your earliest sculptural works, and I have to say I love the organic elements that you draw into some of your work. The large discs you had here in the Hudgens Prize finalist exhibition, just it was such a beautiful juxtaposition of the materials and then that lighter, more organic element. And then looking around the room at the work we have included in this solo exhibition, can you tell us a little bit about the importance of repurposed materials in your work?
Oh, well, that's where my art is at the point now. The word repurpose, in my view, helps to correct the wrong impression of classification for art. People sometimes talk about recycle, and I think in the true sense of recycling, we don't do it in art. People talk about found objects to describe this, and presupposes that it's lost. But as a matter of fact, it's the object that found the artist, but not the other way around, because so many people must have come across that object and ignored it, and then you see the object, and then it connects with you. So there is always this symbiotic relationship with objects that repurpose brings into it. And the repurpose is a strategy that I employed in the sense that I want people to make a connection between the primary use of the object and then the secondary use or the new use of the object. That's why it's repurposed. And I think the closest in the past description that I agree with is combine, because there's a lot of combination of objects that do not have the same materials. There's also reuse, which is something that we do. So I think strategically the purpose describes my work, and so every opportunity I have to correct the wrong impression of classification, I try to make sure I run with it and tell people it's not that what you say recycling is wrong, but if you look at recycling through the scientific lens, then we're not recycling. Now, I know people who are environmentalists who always want to draw that and use that. Sometimes they use the word upcycle. There's no need to give coloration to things that does not best describe the process. And I think repurpose to me, truly and purely articulate my point of view with these objects. Yeah.
Thank you, Olu. And what does this exhibition mean to you? Is it autobiographical in some ways? Is it more about exploring new techniques? But this exhibition specifically, I know there's a lot of new work created just for your Hudgens Prize solo show. So can you tell us a little bit about the exhibition and the work included in it?
I think the summary is liberation. I feel liberated. First, I must confess to everybody here, when I came in here for the competition, the first thing I fell in love with was the space. Usually you don't find spaces that are small at the same time very expanse in the way you use it. So I told Laura, when we were having this conversation, because she was very polite meeting every artist. So I told her, I said, please do me a favor. Win or lose, are you going to give me a solo show? She said, no, I can't guarantee you that, but win first, then we can talk about that. And so when I won, and then I said, well, your wish has come true. And so when you see a space and you fall in love with the space, everything you do, you consciously want to look at it, every piece to see how they fit into the space. And I must confess also that the Hudgens Center have very good installer who meet the artists, halfway this point. So while I take credit for the work here, I also want to share the credit with the man who installed Jeff. He did a wonderful job here. And I think when an artist helps another artist to install, he makes it a lot different. Because I think he take it very personal. Some of the decisions was his. And I only came in and said, well, look, I think the height of this pedestal should be alternated. So it's liberation that I find here. All of us, the last 5 years or 4 years, we knew what we went through, even if not in America and the world. The COVID was a very challenging period for mankind. And so when I have the privilege, I don't know if Michael Dillon will permit me to say that, he's been phenomenal. You know, I think I want people to recognize Michael Dillon. Not many people open their studio for you. You know, I met him through Craigslist, and Craigslist, if you all know, is not the best place to meet friends. You know, but we connected and the family connected, and since then it's like he's a brother. You know, so he does blacksmith, and many of the pieces you find here comes from the scrap, what he refused to use or he decided not to use because he's a perfectionist. And some of the objects itself, they're already, you know, something I need to do. So in a way, you know, the materials I'm familiar with, but the shapes is something that I engage or I encounter from his scrap here in the pile. And so I can't really tell you, other than the fact that I'm happy that the works fit into these spaces like they're tailor-made, you know, and so the combination of things that happen here, but the best way to say is liberation to me. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Olu. And finally, what has it meant for you to win the Hudgens Prize? Has it changed anything for you, your career trajectory, how you view your work, the scope of your work?
Look, a prize any day, everybody knows that is something that is welcome. I could tell you that winning the prize is also responsible for the scope of the things you see here. I was able to install, you know, invest on tools and, you know, machines, you know, although I have a lot of support from Michael, you know, but he also tells you you need to start to develop, you know, your cachet of tools. So he also run into tools and say, do you think you need this one? I say, yes. So he has a way of going into places to get you good deals. You know, so with the prize, yes, I was able to say yes, categorically, I need it, and then it's okay, it's yours. So the prize itself, you know, I've had several prizes in my career, and I think this is also the biggest prize that I've won. And so I don't know how, but it is the only reason that I'm still producing, you know, now, because I'm still dealing with the, you know, the fallout of that. So the prize helps to keep my practice going, and I don't know what will happen when the money runs out, you know. But that's it to me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Olu. For those of you who are not familiar, the Hudgens Prize, Olu is the 6th winner of the Hudgens Prize. The competition is a 2-year cycle, and it's we're about 13 years in to the award now since the initial award. It's designed to elevate the arts in Georgia, and specifically one Georgia artist. We also now draw our jurors from the state of Georgia, knowing that we have credentialed and qualified and some great eyes and artists and educators and curators here in Georgia. Our jurors come from the state of Georgia as well. So congratulations to Olu. We also have Tom Francis in the room today. He was one of our jurors, so thank you, Tom. Professor Emeritus at Savannah College of Art and Design. Lauren Tate-Beza, curator at the High Museum of Art. And it was really special to have the both of you. And I don't see Jamal Barber. It was equally special to have Jamal. He is at Georgia State, and just the three of them had a really tough decision. And we're just looking at the solo exhibition, the work you produced today. We're just honored to have you here in the Fowler Gallery for the 2022 Hudgens Prize winner solo exhibition. So thank you all so much. Are there any questions that you all have for Olu? Oh, Tom.
I have just a comment and kind of a two-part question. Kind of alluding to Laura's question about do you draw and paint. I think that what you do with steel and how lyrical the work is and how sensitive the work is, most people can't get that from And it's beautiful and amazing. My question, two parts is, I'm looking at a lot of women, and I was wondering two things. Do you ever work with males? And do you ever work with two or more people, in relationships? Or is it always the singular female?
Well, if you look here, around you, I think there are more females here. And if you say art reflects the environment or the persons, so what you see, more things. I don't lie. I try not to have alternative facts. I grew up in the midst of 12 girls, so that makes me more familiar with their antics, and I could relate more. But besides that, the COVID made women much bolder than men, in the sense that now they do their reels in Facebook, they come in and, and you open your system, even if you're reading news, the images comes. And if you want to pretend that they don't exist, then there's something wrong with you. But beside that, I think they are gorgeous, they are, adorable, and they respond very well with still. I try to take something serious and then trying to trivialize it, people see women from distance as delicate, but they are not. So, and the still itself really, really capture that strength in the women. And besides the change, they're very eclectic. A woman goes into the bathroom and comes out, she's a different person. If she wants a long hair today, she has it. If she wants something short. So it's always a fleeting moment that you always want to capture. And I used to say that I'm lazy, that's why I weld, because, when you weld, you get your result immediately. It's not like when you do modeling and then you go through casting and then you're not sure of what you want. I'm sure what I want in this. And then, of course, like I alluded in the past, some of the things that my host, Michael, does in his forge, some of them are round, some of them are like sketch, some of them are, so once you run into those objects, they already suggest something to you. And once they suggest something to you, then find the other missing parts. So what I do is that when I find a sketch, I look for the legs. And men don't wear skirts, that, So once you find the legs, you definitely will find the head in the pile. And then the rest is that I come with my corrupt mind to try to shape it to look beautiful. And I also try as much as possible to be zero waste, He says my space is too cluttered, and I say, well, that's the way I function, It's like when you have a good meal, fresh fish, you eat the flesh, and then they put the bone aside, and then you later go back to the bone, and then you start. So each of these objects, you find all these pieces, they connect one another. So even when you cut from something, it's still there, yearning to be part of the next work. So it is almost impossible for me not to do a series from one material. So once you have one figure, you want to see how you can have two, and then that strategy and that period, is what you work. The question about what if I work with male, I do, but for this period, it just the female. If you look at the piece here with the door stoppers, I went to the Habitat, for human, and they're selling door stoppers. I just saw it. It already suggests something to me. The face is part of the sketch, that Michael has done before, and I shaped it differently. And, once the object suggests something, you follow. My work is based on process, and I want to follow the process. And it takes a while, once you exhaust that, then you start thinking about the next move. But for now, you take what you see. That's what you're feeling now. Is that the other question? You're talking about the drawings or something? Well, I have always loved to use the plasma cutter. As a professor of art, and I teach carving in Nigeria, I tell my students that anything that can be cut can be carved. Anything that can be engraved can be sculpted. So all these things you see like drawings, they are like for printmakers. They could be a block for you to pull the print from them. And they're two very indispensable tools now that I enjoy having around. And that's the plasma cutter, and it just allows you to cut things faster. And I try to abuse what the manufacturers intended for you to use with those objects. And that's what art allows you to do, break the rules, and I hope that something exciting comes out of it. But so that's what it is. Yeah.
Thank you, Olu. Any other questions for Olu? Oh, yes.
Hi, Olu. Congratulations, Olu, for the wonderful solo. And I just enjoyed very much of your exhibition in March. And I'm just so excited to see some of your new works just in a couple of months for the new exhibition. So congratulations. And I noticed something that is different in the work that was in March. I see more colors, dynamic elements in this show. For example, the big sculpture at the front, the beautiful orange color, and the pieces in here, they are so bright and colorful. These are something I didn't see, actually. I saw in last show. So my question is, so what changed in your artwork? What is the development and what inspiration that is new in this art?
Well, when you're having a group show, it's just riding the shoulder of your partner. And so I hid most of the work, so I didn't want to let you see my work at that time. I just make sure that not everything is given out, because I have this show in mind. And I know that, going into that might also affect, the production or put some pressure on me. So when I showed it there, it also, kind of like put some pressure for me to reproduce or to make some more works. But the truth about the colors is also, I think I didn't show so many colors in that show you're referring to, but I know I've used colors in the past, and I have the opportunity to use powder coating, to express myself. And the palette for powder coating is so vast, and you take the risk. People always say that sculptors don't like to use colors. When I say to them, that's not true, because if you see cars are sculptures that are moving, and there are so many colors of cars. And so if you want to express, and metal itself is very color friendly. I think it's just the application, the method to which you want to use that vary. And I think some of the colors there looks bright because they are powder coating. And powder coating most times are very bright, and so it's just the technique that, but I've been doing colors in the past, but not as bold as this. And I think every opportunity you have to express yourself, you go with it. And that's the point here.
Thank you, Olu. So maybe one more question, and we'll give you all an opportunity to take in the exhibition, and you can chat one-on-one with Olu. Yes, sir.
I've listened to the questions that you fielded, and I recognize that these are questions clearly being asked by art connoisseurs. Mine is a little more modeling. How do you determine the value of a piece of painting, a sculpture? As you look at it, when you finish working on it, how do you determine that this is worth $10,000?
I don't know if I have the answers to that. And I'm sure if there's anything artists have difficulties and challenges with, is how to know the value. And there are people whose training are there to do evaluation of artworks. And I think there's something like provenance, depending on what you've done over the years. Now, if I'm a young school leaver, I might have more difficult difficulty in putting a price. The summary of that, in most cases, what you say in school is that who is buying and who is selling, comes into, the pricing. But it is not, there's no magic wand in it because you have auctions, so if you look at this work now, if you take it to an auction, it will command a bigger price because you have people competing to want to have that. So should we use the outcome of an auction price to determine the value of the artwork? The answer is no, because every day is not auction. As we say in Nigeria, every day is not Christmas. There's always the element of luck that comes into what you do, but there's no, there's no scale. I don't think any school really teach you how to put that. So the market is determined by who is interested in it. At times, you have people who just want to pay whatever it is they have, but it's the artist's also power to say this is what I want, but does not necessarily mean that that's what he's going to get. So I can't answer that, just purely speculative. And there are many artists around here as I speak. Sometimes you tap on their consent to say yes, they're talking sense. Everybody's nodding their head, say yes, they agree. Because I didn't see any of the artists that I know here who shook their head in disagreement. So I want to believe that what I'm saying to some extent captures the plight that they all go through in trying to fix the price. But that's it. But I will say that if you really like an artwork, there are always ways of seeing God with special negotiations. They have terms of payment like you do in credit card. They have things, some people also sometimes say, well, look, I like the work, I'm not sure if I like it, but can I have it for a while? People go into rental. You can rent a piece even if you don't have the money. And I don't think also the artist set the price in mind when it's created, because in that case, you will not be successful. You create the work and then you deal with the business aspect later. Here is a museum, but they're not a gallery. But usually galleries, they have their managers who deal with that. So when you come with your price, they tell you, look, well, I know my clientele, they might not be able to afford that. And then the prices also vary city to city. So what we do is to ensure that, look, try not to put many of your stuff online, your price, because then it messes your own price and your value down. And that's just an advice somebody gave to me yesterday, and I didn't know about that. So every day we learn about how to deal with the business aspect of it. But art is not really purely a business venture. It's trying to capture what is happening around you and what is internally. You bring it out and you hope that people come. So I see many familiar faces here, and I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for coming. And I'll be willing to take one-on-one, question on each work, but I think it'd be nice for all of you to just enjoy it and soak it in, and bring your collector friends. I don't see collector yet. We need to sell, we need to make some money. Sometimes when you don't say this, people, oh, you're very comfortable. No, I'm not. So if I were Bill Gates, relations, I probably should give him an endowment, and then I will create works I don't sell, but I'm not. So I have to sell. Thank you.
Thank you, Olu. If you all will join me in giving Olu a giant round of applause. We really are honored to have you as our 2022 Hudgens Prize Award recipient. It's such a special thing for us here at the Hudgens. Thank you to the Hudgens Family Foundation for making this award possible. It's nothing quite like it throughout the United States here. So, and congratulations to you, Olu. You really did show up, and the body of work here is truly stunning, and it's just an honor. I do want to thank again Tom Francis, Lauren Tabeza, and Jamal Barber, our jurors for the 2022 cycle. And also just one final note, We have an exhibition opening Friday evening, August 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. Dwayne Vaughn's second has done some exceptional work in the Georgia Gallery. The Airfoils exhibition is currently open, but please join us next Friday evening, August 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Georgia Gallery as we welcome that another great body of work here at the Hudgens. So you all enjoy, and Olu will be here till 4?
Yes.
Okay, and thank you so much for coming.